So basically, if you're trading, you can lose money. And if you don't know that, you now know that. It's very risky, and you should not trade with money you cannot afford to lose, because you will lose. Sometimes it's just a given factor in trading. Okay? All right, so we're waiting on the crude oil inventories. Let's go ahead and go through. I'm going to ignore your questions right now because I want to go ahead and go through what I see on the charts today. All right, right now you are reaching a congestion dot on gold, so it could clear that or not clear that. We don't know yet. You also see that we are in a very tight area of congestion on crude. You do have both an ATR and a congestion zone right up above you. If you're looking at the higher time frames, the only thing in the way for crude to go up would be an ATR that is at 57.36. I'm not seeing a lot of selling in crude, so yes, I do expect it to go up. Is it definitive? No, it's not. It can do anything it wants to do. But the way it looks right now, I think it has more potential to the upside. Over on the Dow, you see that you're going into all of these congestion areas here. Okay, so will it be able to actually break through and continue down? That remains to be seen. A lot of it depends on the higher time frames. We have been in congestion areas on the higher time frames. Now, if you want to see what I mean by that, then I'm going to show you using multi-charts. This is your congestion zone. It's going from 18,110 down to 17,702. And you can see there's no buying in this at all as it's coming back to touch these areas. Okay. Could it come back down to this low at 841? It could. Okay. Could they really take the Dow down today, depending on what the FOMC meeting says? Yeah, they could, because they're expected to give some indication that they're going to raise interest rates. People are not going to like it if they say that. This is an emotional report today on the FOMC. Okay, so, you can see that I would expect them at least to come down to 7926 over on the 45-minute. Looking at the 720, they may come down to 713. Everybody understand that? The FOMC does not start until 2 o'clock, okay, to 2:30. There is a potential for this to go down at the opening, and then the FOMC comes in and they take it up. It could be vice versa. So I'm going to do the 17,850 area and see if it goes there anytime today. You're risking $25, and I'm going to put in a $50 profit target as it stands right now. Actually, I'm going to go to 45 on that. Okay, the DAX should actually retrace some. You've got an ADX value at 87 on the 3-minute. You have an ADX at 70 on the 12-minute. I wouldn't enter that until a retracement occurs, because you could get a better premium price. So, and I like bargains, so I'm not going to enter the DAX yet. If you're trading the FOMC, the DAX does typically move more than the Dow does, which is why I like trading it. If you're looking at the scanner window, you can see that you're getting long divergence on the 180-minute chart. It's also oversold on the ADX. It is not oversold on the RSI. It is oversold on the ADX. Okay. You also have easily identified congestion on the 180, 720, and the 1440, and then on the S&P 500, you are in congestion on the 1440. Okay. It's one of the benefits of using the scanner is that you can easily identify these areas. Here's your congestion zone on the 1440. You can see you have an ATR above price here, ATR below price here. These are just not good areas right now for entry. Would you enter before the ATR flip on 45 with divergence? What market, Dan? It depends on what my higher time frames are telling me. To me, the best entry would have been here. As this is pulling back to this ATR, we've been in this congestion now for days. To me, the best entry would have been to the downside here. Has nothing to do with what my 45 minutes doing. I'm at an ATR on the 720-minute chart. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4 times that it's touched this and moved to the downside. Has nothing to do with this chart over here. Absolutely nothing. All I'm doing is saying, okay, more likely than not, this is a consistent behavior that has been happening for, about a week now. So I think it's going to go back down and test the congestion dot. Do you understand that, Dan? Yeah, this is not one of those times. You don't have an ADX peak, do you, Dan? Right. Now, if that was an ADX peak, what would you do? You would wait, let it retest the AT, flip the ATR, retest the ATR. Okay? It limits your risk. It makes the premium cheaper. Okay? It's not the scenario right now. I'm just saying today we're dealing with an unknown. We're dealing with the FOMC. It is an emotional report. If I'm going to trade this, what would be the most logical trade? The most logical trade would be the congestion zone on the 720-minute chart. We're not going to read more into it than that. Could it bounce up? Sure, it could. Could it go down? Sure, it could. Could it stay this way the rest of the day? Sure, because it can do whatever it wants to do, and I have learned that over years of trading. Normally, this is almost like it's a spring. It's tightening up. There's tension in the market. It's going to go one way or the other. In order for this magenta peak to come in, we need, we need volume divergence. It hasn't really retraced back to here yet, and I'm not seeing volume divergence on these lows. Normally, you will get volume divergence before the magenta peak comes in. So I'm waiting to see if we get it. If you notice on the 12-minute right now, sellers are dominating that bar. In other words, as this is making a high, the sellers can't step in. Do y'all understand that? Now, there's still another 5 minutes to the end of that bar, so we have to wait on that. Do you see the delta going to the downside, though? You see how it flipped to the downside here? That tells me we're probably going to get a magenta peak on the 3-minute, retrace back to the ATR. All right, Dan, I did your 20-minute binary. Now, this is the thing with the 20-minute binary using a 12-minute chart. You only got one bar, okay? You don't even have 2 bars on this. You've got one. And this one ends in 1 minute and 13 seconds. What do you mean we only need one to diverge? Normally, when I'm doing 20-minute binaries, Dan, I'm doing like a 5 and a 20, not a 12-minute. Depends on the formation of the bar and where it's at. Now, this next bar has to come straight down for you to make anything. Do you see what I mean now, Dan? You've only got one bar. That's it. If it doesn't do it on that one bar, you're just out of luck. And most of the time on the binaries, how many bars do you need in your favor? 3. Depending on how far you go out in strike, you need 3. This one, you've got 1. So it's going to have to come straight down. There's no room for error. Dan, what happens if this is a pulse bar? That's right. That's why you need 3 bars. And what normally happens when we get divergence? What confirms the divergence? Pulse bar or down bar. One of the two. You either have a pulse bar or you have a down bar. And because you're trying to trade a 12-minute on a 20-minute binary, if you get that pulse bar right now, you lose. Do you understand now, Dan? That's the reason I do the 5 and the 20. If I do the 5 into 20, going into the 20, I got room for a pulse bar and still close in my direction. Understand now? It's nothing like education, is there? And that's just thinking it through. You have to put all the pieces together and think this through. Okay, if there's divergence. To confirm the divergence, I need a pulse bar, correct? Or a down bar. Okay. This is a 12-minute. Do I have enough time for that to happen? Not really. And that's why I do the 5 and the 20. I could get the pulse bar and then 2 bars in my direction. As long as I'm not too far out, I could still make my profit target. And these pop a lot. I do suggest that you put a profit target in. On that one, you were risking basically $21. If you put an order in, it would be at, let's say 58. Will it get there? I don't know. We'll have to find out. I know it's only got 6 minutes to do it. That's pretty quick, ain't it? I prefer my crude oil over that one. Let's go back, and I'm having to move these screens around a lot. I want to start watching crude to see what it does. And this is what happens when I run out of memory. See? So now I can't look at the NASDAQ. I just have to watch these, I guess. Okay, now we can watch the NASDAQ. Me, I got 16 gigs of RAM, but NinjaTrader can only use the first 2 gigs, which is an issue. Multi-chart is 64-bit, so it can utilize it all, but NinjaTrader can't, not until they come out with the update. The programming language that it's written in, Dan, can only use the first 3 gigs of RAM memory that you have in your computer. Well, I mean, it's huge on their part, to be honest with you. From my understanding of it anyway. I don't know what all we're going to have to do to change the indicators. If we're going to have to reprogram all the indicators or what. I mean, I have no idea. I haven't got into that conversation yet. But someone was telling me that AMP was going to provide multi-charts to their clients. I've got to talk to Dennis and see what the deal is on that one. But supposedly people wouldn't have to pay for it. I'm not sure. I got to talk to Dennis on it, find out. Well, it might be to a version of multi-charts that you can't use the indicators with, because they have a free version now with CQG, but you can't use the indicators with it, so you have to end up buying it anyway. Yeah, I think it's a good value for it. Yeah, I've gotten to the point I don't like TradeStation that much. There's some things I use it for, but everyday trading, not one of them. Dan, do you see what I'm talking about now? That was your pause bar? Do you see how the pattern's holding up? You're just on the wrong time frame. Do you understand that now, Dan? If you did it between a 5 and a 20, probably would have worked out for you. But you needed that pause bar, and there wasn't the time for that to develop. That's where the time factor comes in on the binaries. And you have to be able to calculate that pretty quickly if you're going to be trading those 20-minute binaries. And it, you flip the ATR, it's going to come back to test the ATR, especially to do the magenta peak on the 180 that will need to happen. But you didn't allocate the time for it. And that's important when you're trading the binaries, allocating time. It's time decay. On the Dow trade that we have, I'm not worried about it. Why? Because I have until 4:15 today. Hello. It's got lots of time. By this afternoon at 2 o'clock, you'll start seeing time decay. But this morning, it'll be fine. Oh, there's a couple of them. I've been off 2 ticks. 2 ticks. And I was like, well, that's just great. On this particular one, we needed 3 more minutes. Oh, that's time factor, dear. That is time. And you better realize that when you're trading. Oh, yeah. In fact, really on the future side of it, it's going to be worse, typically, than what it is on the binary side if you're doing out of the money. I think, I don't know, we had $20 of risk on that one. I can't remember now. So, we had 5 contracts, basically $20 of risk. It's $100, okay? You could lose that trading just a couple of contracts. Seems like it was last Friday I had a losing binary trade. It was 2 ticks. Never hit my profit target. Was 2 ticks away. And, it was jumping back and forth between profit and loss, profit and loss, profit and loss, but never hit my profit target. And I said, well, I'm just going to let it stay because it's 2 ticks. It could close in my direction or not close in my direction. And I actually kept it on there. And I lost. It's like, great. Part of the game. Yeah, I kind of think I've lost the emotional side of it. It's just like, well, shit. Then I go have dinner with Mom. Well, I don't think anything could ever match my worst day. So that's probably why. Had a fabulous morning. Gave back all of that and then some. The thing was like 8,000 for the day. That was painful. I've never done that on a binary. Oh yeah, I was very nauseated that day. I didn't sleep for about a week. I beat myself up pretty bad on it. I never did it again either. When I have a fabulous day, I cut the computer off and I leave. I don't do it no more. That was probably my worst day of trading. I traded the Aussie dollar one time. This is when I first started trading. Okay. Really first time I started trading. And I decided to trade a market report. And it was, I don't know, some announcement that came out 5 o'clock that afternoon on the Aussie. So I went in at 3 o'clock and I was in the wrong direction. It went against me 100 ticks. And I said, well, I'm going to let it ride because what goes up must come down. 150 pips against me. What goes up must come down. 200 pips against me. Shit, I can't take it no more. Got out and then it came down. I didn't do that no more either. Oh, the crazy stuff that we do when we first start trading, I tell you. Nah, I never forget the painful ones. Very hard for me to remember the great ones. Yeah, I think one of the books I wrote about 1 month, it was September, I remember that. And I felt terrible all month. I thought I was a terrible trader. And at the end of the month, I reviewed, and I'd had a great month. I mean, absolutely fantastic month, but I felt bad all month because there were just a couple of negative trades that stayed with me. Oh, yeah, we're designed for survival. That's for sure. And, a lot of this you don't really realize until you actually go into trading, and you've been doing it for a while. And you start wanting to break the cycle that we get into. And you begin analyzing it, and that's when you figure it out. But until then, just right over your head. I think it's happened to every trader. If they say it doesn't, then I don't think they're being very honest with you. Because it happens to everyone, whether you know it or not. There are no great traders that haven't felt the pain that everybody feels as a trader. That's right. Most of you know my son's going through basic, and sometimes he says, "Mom, how can I make it?" I say, you put one foot in front of the other and just keep going. Don't think about it. Just do. And evidently it worked because he's doing very well now. But, I was talking to someone yesterday, and we're doing these training certificates for the soldiers. And I've had to go through all these courses, and it was a lot of psychological stuff in there, but basically it's what we deal with day in and day out. You face your worst fear, and you find out that you can go through it, and you can actually overcome it. It makes you a better person. But I have a sign in my office, Dan. It says, even if you fall on your face, you're still moving forward. And I have to read that sometimes because at least I am moving forward, Ironically, most of the same things that I tell y'all as traders, they tell soldiers in training. Positive self-talk. When you have a negative thought, you dismiss it and replace it with a positive thought. Or a positive, I guess you would say, spin on the statement. Do you know in the Army they train the soldiers the same way? Isn't that funny? I thought it was really kind of unique. That's right, Dan. Well, a lot of the same concepts that we go over in the training, you identify the problem, analyze it, come up with solutions, Some very logical thinking processes. Same thing that they teach them in boot camp, which is great because my son was raised in that environment. So he's done really well in it. Yeah, he's in the room. One thing while we're waiting on this report, let me open up my email real quick because I got to get a number. Remember, next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're having the annual members live trading room. Let me show you how to join that one real quick. I'll do it incognito. All right, let's pull this over here. Let's go to joinme.com. Oh, join me, I'm sorry. And you're going to join meeting. You have to enter a code. Do y'all see that? And the code is actually listed on the annual members page. In this case, I've created a dummy one for today. to show y'all. So I'm going to enter 368-123-048 and then click join meeting. Okay. And that's as simple as it gets. The meeting codes are listed by Sunday for the next week. I've already got all of the meeting codes up for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Now, the Thursday session will use exactly the same link that you used today, which is join.me/traders help desk. And we'll do those every Thursday. They're the free sessions. They go probably from 8:30 to 10 starting next week. Any questions on that? You do have to be an annual member to join the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday sessions. You lost half of the full loss. That's not bad. But, if you had watched that, Dan, and, this is where you say, okay, if you have a profit target, let's say at 45, and you see it, and you will see it. I know that you will see it because I watch it. If you're seeing it hit 38, 38, 38, 38, 38, your profit target is at 45, and it just doesn't reach there. That's where you have to say, okay, I'm at 38. My profit target is at 45. That's $7. Is it worth that $7 per contract? And I know that it did it last week because I even mentioned in the video, why did you do break even when you could have done, it was 30 something. I can't remember what it was. And it hit that numerous times because I was sitting there watching it do it. And a lot of times you'll see the binaries will hit, very, very close to where you're at, but they just don't quite reach your profit target. I watch stuff like that, even if it's way in the money. These levels that they are never, ever touched. What happens, let's say, okay, I want this one because it's in the money, okay? You're risking almost $25 to make, you're risking $75 to make $25 because you think that it has a higher probability of closing here. Now, I'm going to do one. Okay, let's do the 11 o'clock one, see if we can get one. Okay, this is deep in the money, okay? Well, it's moved faster than I could get into it. We'll do this one, okay? All right, we're in that one, okay? Now, this is what you need to realize. We have 10 contracts on that. That is a risk of $850. But the probabilities are it will close above this number. Is everybody with me so far? And you damn well better hope it does. Okay. I'm going to pull this one over here. And let's see. This is at 968. Where's 968? There's 968. This is considered deep in the money, okay? Because we are, let me get my little highlighter here. We are here, okay? And price is here, okay? So we're deep in the money. Everybody understand that? In fact, if we counted it, and market makers do this one a lot. Let me do this again. We're here. And price is here. Okay. So we're to strike prices deep in the money. Y'all understand that? And there's 20 minutes left. And you better hope that bar does not come down in that 20 minutes. Could the Dow fall 68, 78, 88, 98, 30 points in 20 minutes? Oh, yeah, the Dow can do that. Okay? And you're risking $850 for $150. That's inverse risk to reward ratio. you better hope you're right. When you're looking at probabilities, we went in, it was, 85 to the upside, minus 50, so that's 35 to the upside. Now you're only 25% that it's going to close above there. They're changing every moment. If you want to know which one to watch, this is the number that you watch. Oh, wow, you made $5. Oh, you're down 250. Now you're down 10. The other number that you need to watch when you're doing this is this number right here, because that's the number. That's the magical number that they go by. No, I've done this before. I just don't recommend it for new people, John. It takes a lot of skill to be able to do this one. And it's not skill that I see a lot of people have. There's times I can do that, John, because the charts are telling me there is absolutely no way that that is going down that low. But it takes skill, and most people don't have that skill level. I've practiced it for a long time. You can't just jump into it. Well, think about if you're trending up, there's no high ADX values, Dan. Market typically will continue up, okay? Unless there's some reason for it not to. You've got a sweet spot that says it's going to reach up to 12,000 like the DAX did, okay? Yeah, nothing in the way, no market reports, I've learned to be very cautious in the room about what I suggest for traders because people will start doing it and not even know what a binary is. Okay. Which is not a good thing. You want to see somebody freak out? Let that number get to $850 and you'll freak out. And yet your indicative index will be above your number, but that number will get to negative 850 and you're like, I can't breathe. Yeah, you better hold on tight. I'm going to exit that crude position because we're going to get a magenta peak, I think. And I wanted to lock in that one. The ADX on the 12 minutes above 70, that's why. That's the number that we're watching, and we're watching this number. If that goes below this number right here, you are totally screwed. And I don't care what this says, it is this that matters. Yeah. Well, the 12-minute crude chart, you just had volume divergence and your ADX is above 70. I can lock in $800 in profit. Please. That's a no-brainer there. Now, look at your number. But this was a high probability trade. Can you sit through that? But I was trading probabilities. Well, you just got screwed, sweetie. Because look at your number. And guess what? The last, I believe it's 3 minutes you cannot get out. It's either the last 2 or 3 minutes, you're just kind of locked in there. So guess what? You were trading with probabilities, but you might just lose $850. Do you see now why I tell you not to do that? It's all dependent on this sweet little number right here. See, you're still, according to this, $375 down, but you're above this number. So actually, if it closes right there, you would still make $150. But look at the risk. Could you sit through that? Most of you can't, because you're so focused on this that you don't see this over here. And this is what it equates to. Oh, shit, I'm down $300, and you're going to exit when actually if it closes at that number, you wouldn't have lost that money. Understand now? The indicative index is the most important number on that screen right now. Do you see how these probabilities have changed? How many times has this probability changed? Yeah, it showed us a full loss, didn't it, Dan? And actually we were in the money. And nobody knew it but me. Now, how many of you in the room would have closed that position at $500? Oh my God, I've just lost everything. Look at your indicative index. What does your indicative index tell you? Your statement is price will be greater than 968. Is this number greater than 968? That's what matters. But this is showing you full loss. You have lost $850. No, you just can't get out of it right now. So if that pops down to 967.9 or even 968, it has to be greater than 968. So if it closes at 968, you have lost $850. If it stays above 968, meaning 968.01, you have made money.